So let's go back to retreats. So we have set up a company, haven't we, called Inclusive Escapes. So it'd be good to talk about what that is and what we're doing and why we're doing it. But now that you've talked about the law of attraction, I'm wondering whether there's a law of attraction spin on how that came into being.
Yeah, I think there is actually. Because I've run retreats.
Am I part of your law of attraction process?
Yeah, probably, by the way. I do believe we're creators of our own universe. And I also believe in coincidences. Okay. And so, yes, I think there is a little bit of a spin on here. I run retreats, and the majority of the people that come to my retreats are people that have got very nice lives. They're professional working people or semi-retired people that can easily afford to have a retreat to look after themselves. And there was a part of me that's always wanted to do retreats for people that can't afford retreats.
Yeah.
Financially, or haven't got the mental ability to allow themselves to go because they're so caught up in sadness, negativity, whatever reason it is. And so I've always had that part of me, I would love to do for retreats for people that can't go on retreats, and they need them more than most people to go on that escapism and the reset and giving them the coping skills. And so I was looking around LinkedIn one day, and then I saw a company called Mindful Therapies. Hello. And I thought, oh, how cute. When I first became self-employed about 11, 12 years ago, I called myself Mindful Therapy. And so I just put in a following, friends request, whatever LinkedIn does. I'm not sure how it was, to Mindful Therapies, because I thought, now you see, that's a coincidence. But they do say there's no such things as coincidences. And this is where the woo-woo comes in. And so I thought, they've got the same name as me.
That's meant to be.
And so I thought no more about it until Mark contacted me and wanted a conversation.
Yeah, he does that.
Yeah, but very few people do that on LinkedIn, but he did. So I thought, ooh, there's somebody with a similar name to me that started a similar time and he wants to talk. And during that conversation, he said, what would you like to do that you haven't done at the moment? And when I said, do you know what? I've always fancied doing retreats for people that can't afford retreats and need retreats. And hence we're here. And so is that a coincidence? Is that the law of attraction manifesting what I've always wanted to do?
But at that point, you didn't actively seek it out and believe that it was going to happen.
No, and that's the thing. I wanted it to happen. Yes, I do know what you mean. I knew it would happen at some stage, but you don't know how it's going to happen. It was in one of my many, many notes. Because you've got to listen to your gut instinct, you've got to listen to you. That's the thing that will guide you. And every time I have an idea, I make a note of it. And these things happen. As soon as I've written it down, I look back at my lists and I go through, yep, that's happened. Yes, that's happened. Yes, that's happened. So I know it's going to happen. You just don't know how it's going to happen.
Or when.
But that was on my list. Inclusive, not the name Inclusive retreats for people that can't afford retreats is there with a list, and it's been made a note of.
So we then got together, the three of us, and we set up a not-for-profit called Inclusive Escapes. And our kind of reason for being is that, isn't it? It's making retreats inclusive and accessible to people who have barriers. And we've spent some time this evening over a Chinese takeaway talking about all the different types and groups of people that this could include. And so it is partly people who might just not be able to afford it financially, but it's also, we've talked about carers and people with social anxiety. We've talked about doing things around neurodiversity, and you used a lovely term earlier, like, I don't know whether it was you or Mark actually, it was that idea of being with your tribe.
Oh, I'm a big believer in being with your tribe. Yeah.
So like that, it's about people with, I suppose, a shared challenge or shared difficulty, being together, and I suppose
supporting each other. Supporting each other. Yeah.
So I think that is really exciting.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier, you mentioned a couple of times your routine outside of retreat. So the thing with the retreat, what I've noticed when I used to go on before I was a mum, and as busy as I've been over the last few years, I used to go on a lot of Buddhist retreats, and they'd be 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that. And they'd be very full on. We'd have 3 days of silence in the middle, if it was particularly in a 2 week retreat. And it'd be intense meditation, there'd be ritual, there'd be a lot going on. And I'd come out with all of these commitments in my head about what I was going to do every day when I got home and how I was going to bring it into my life. And I'd have a week or so where I'd set my alarm a little bit earlier and I'd meditate in the morning. I'd do my whatever ritual I'd be into at that particular point, and I'd think about the different Buddhist figures and all of that kind of stuff. And then it would dwindle and it'd dwindle and it'd dwindle. And then I'd beat myself up or whatever. And basically what I'm saying is habits are really hard to form, aren't they?
Yeah, they take 3 months.
Okay.
About 3 months for a habit to form. But when you've actually got that habit established, it goes into your mindset. So it happens without you even thinking. So you don't have to use your working mind.
Okay.
And so I do have a little set of things that I do each day. And these things happen not so much when I'm abroad, but when I'm at home in my normal day life, they always happen. Starts with, and this is my personal ones, and so bear in mind this is a female me type ones, and so there might not be ones that you might want to do. But I start off with always gratitude, always an intention, 12 minutes of silence, which I really look forward to. And so I love that 12 minutes of utter mindfulness. And there is a reason why it's 12, because what I also do then is I do the 5 rites, the Tibetan rites. Don't know if have you heard of the Tibetan rites?
I don't think so.
It is a set of 5 yoga moves
Okay.
that if you do it every day, it apparently gives you, according to all the prophecies, 20 extra healthy years of life. And what they believe in is so the Tibetan rites, the yoga moves, they are basically, is you've got to do them in sets of 3. And so you can do 3, 6, 9, and at the moment I'm doing 12 of each of these 5 rituals. And so these 5 yoga moves. And so that's why I've incorporated a 12 minutes of silence into it to fit in with these. Now, my personal ones, because with any established routine, it's what it fits you and things you want to do. I am also learning Duolingo Italian. And so in the morning, as part of my routine, because totally different story, and for another podcast another day, found out I'm half Italian. So I am, yeah, and so I want to get in touch with my Italian roots. And so I'm learning Italian every day. And the last one, okay, this is a vanity one. I do some facial yoga.
Nothing wrong with vanity.
Yeah, so I do a bit of that. And so that's my...
Nothing wrong with looking after yourself.
So this is my, no matter what, routine.
And how long does that take?
Oh my goodness, it probably takes about a quarter of an hour. That's it.
Really?
Yeah, well, look at it. These attentions take a couple of minutes. You don't want to do an awful lot. So that is my musts. I have also got a much longer list, which I tried. These are things that if I can fit it in, I will. And so this is my longer list. And if I don't do these, it really doesn't matter. And so it's continuous learning. At the moment, I subscribe to Mind Valley, where I go on, and I love my Mind Valley. So I'll watch some videos on there, which is a continual learning process. I also include on my longer list promotions of my websites. It's marketing. It's kind of like walking. I like to go out walking a lot. It's an hour's yoga. So these are the much, much longer, more weighty things. So I will try then to do as many as those that I can fit in with my normal daily life.
So that 15 minutes that is non-negotiable.
Yes, that is my routine.
How did you set that up, and how you said it took 3 months? So it takes 3 months to set up a habit.
Yes.
How do you do that? So because it does, I find it really difficult to find something and stick to it, and I will stick to it for a little while, and then I'll do something different. And
you can't do it different. You've got to do that same things, and it's got to be things that serve you well and shouldn't be too difficult. It's got to be doable.
So you don't think you can mix it up in any way? It has to be exactly the same.
Okay, you can put it into the bottom bit. You know, there's stuff that you can do or you don't have to do. With any habit or routine, It needs to be done continuously, almost non-negotiable, like the list of mine. And so keep it small and keep it doable. It is better for your self-esteem if you just say every day for the next year, I'm going to have a glass of water every single morning before coffee and tea, and you do it, because that's a win. And win, 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 win. You're always doing it. It's what you do. So you start to do it and you think, oh, I can't be bothered with a glass of water today. Normally about a month into it and you'll start to resist. But you've got to push through that and just keep on doing it. By the time you've
How
done,
do you push through it?
you do it regardless.
How?
Okay, it's a change of mindset.
Go on,
And
keep
so
going.
what you do with that kind of like, I'm going to do it. Yep, I really, really can't be bothered to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'll tell you what, I will do it today, but I'm not saying I might do it tomorrow. I might not do it tomorrow. So what you do
Just for today.
just for today. There's kind of like, there's that law, it's a rule of 2 minutes. Everybody can do anything for 2 minutes. So let's say you really wanted to start running every day. And that's what you wanted to do. And you come to your third day, I'm not going running today. What you do is you said, you know what, I'm going to go out running for just 2 minutes. Because you will run longer, because it's actually the getting prepared, putting your shoes on, walking out the door that's the problem. So you almost like play games with your own mind to persuade you to do it. And then when it becomes established, it will become automatic and you'll do it regardless. Like, I'm sure, do you brush your teeth every day? Let's say yes.
Yeah.
Mostly. You know what I mean? Yes, you do. Why? Why do you not think, oh, do you know, I don't think I'm going to bother today?
Tell you what, I'm going to say something a bit minging now. Lockdown. When we were in lockdown, that had a negative impact. And I tell you what it is that my routine with cleaning my teeth is it's last thing before I go to bed and last thing before I leave the house in the morning.
Oh, okay.
And so quite often during lockdown, I'd get to like 3 in the afternoon and go, I haven't cleaned my teeth because I haven't been out. So I had to rethink that routine because I didn't have the prompt of going out anymore.
Because what it was wired into you.
Yeah.
And so think about this. So if you wire it into you, whatever you're trying to achieve, and if you do it into that wiring in, it will happen without even thinking.
Yeah.
It goes into that part of your, like when you walk, you don't think, oh, I don't know how I'm going to walk today. You just walk.
But I think I've just hit on something accidentally that is possibly quite useful. So what I did with cleaning my teeth is I linked it with going out.
Yes.
Which is why it was a problem during lockdown. So some of the habits that we want to establish, is it helpful to link them to something else?
If it helps you, yes. I mean, I generally, with my first things in the morning, it's just linked with waking up. And it's try to do some of the things and start me off with before I even leave the bed. And so I just sit there and say, good morning, kind of like world type of thing. I'm so grateful, and go into it that way. Or sometimes I will really be daring and I'll mix them up a bit and change the order. I know. And I'll think, oh, I've done my Duolingo first. That's a shocker. But it's about what works for you. And it's about, if there's something you really want to, if you get it into an established routine, it will happen. But just don't make it too big. Don't set the goal too big. Have the small things that you really, really want. And then the rest is on, hopefully I will, or I'll try to do 1 or 2 of the rest of the list.
So I think there's 2 things in there. You said 2 minutes. I like the 2 minutes. And it's figuring out which is the thing that you really want. Yeah. Because I've interviewed about 40 odd people now. And nearly everyone I've spoken to, I've thought, actually, there's something in that. There's something in that. There's something of value in everything that people have talked about. So I could potentially spend the rest of my life, quit all my jobs and just spend all of my time doing a little bit of every type of thing that I've learned about. I don't think it would help me though, if I did everything.
It's choosing what works for you. And if you try it and it works and it sticks, run with it. I'm forever learning. I want to be forever learning. And I'm forever trying different things, trying different stuff and teaching it to others. And so some things will work, some things doesn't work for you, but I know intentions having that morning routine is what keeps me well and keeps me motivated going forward. And so, whatever you're going to learn from everybody, try it, see if it works, see if it's beneficial, give it a time. And it is okay to not do everything.
How long would you try it for?
I think 3 months. If
Wow.
it's something serious, if it's something I mean, really, I'd need to have an idea of what type of thing. If it is half a day, once a week, going for a 10-mile walk and you can't fit it in, then that one you're going to have to let go. So it really, really, but if it is just something like a glass of water every morning before your cup of tea, I'd say run with it. And so it depends on what it is.
Mm,
And only you know what that is and what works and what doesn't work.
mm. Interesting.